We have to understand that marriage is never 50-50.
The flash was blinding. Not from a bomb, but from a camera. The photo that sparked global speculation wasn't violent, it was silent. 2 hands, 1 table, smiles that didn't reach the eyes. That's all it took. Now, the world is on high alert, dissecting body language, scheduling absences, and decoding birthday captions like military ciphers. Michelle Obama, once America's First Lady, stands at the center of a new kind of battlefield. Not of war, but of whispers. And now, she's breaking the silence. The objective was simple on paper. Maintain the image. America's power couple, the symbol of strength, unity, and grace under fire. But beneath the polished veneer of public appearances, a more personal war had been waging. A war of schedules, of sacrifice, of shared silence behind closed doors. Michelle LaVaughn Robinson Obama, a strategist in her own right, forged in the rigor of Chicago's South Side, trained in Princeton's intellectual crucible, and refined in Harvard's halls of law, wasn't just a first lady. She was the mission planner of her family's emotional resilience. Barack Hussein Obama, cool under pressure, driven by vision, had become a global commander in diplomacy, a cultural force, a walking headline. But the cost of command was connection. The operational zone stretched across decades. From Sidley Austin's polished law offices to the White House's marbled corridors. From Chicago's public schools to the global stage, every movement, every step, tracked and televised. Now, in the aftermath of leaked photos, solo appearances, and a viral Instagram caption under scrutiny, the command center has shifted again. Michelle, age 61, initiates a counter-narrative. Not with denial, not with deflection, but with precision. She opens up, not to the press, not to pundits, but to the people. It's not a press conference, it's not a tell-all, it's a recalibration. This is not a story of collapse. This is a strategic response to emotional attrition. The battlefield wasn't physical, it was digital, emotional, relational. And stealth wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. For years, the Obamas mastered the optics, holding hands across podiums, smiling through press junkets, coordinated outfits, choreographed dances, warm tributes on social media. But beneath the choreography was choreography, and behind every carefully crafted caption was calculus. Michelle's strategy was subtle, silence. Not absence, she didn't vanish, she redistributed. Shifting from traditional public appearances to controlled environments, podcasts, pre-recorded events, and small group discussions. Places where tone, not tabloids, shaped perception. While Barack delivered global speeches, Michelle planted gardens. While critics dissected presidential memoirs, she told bedtime stories on Netflix. They separated roles, but not homes. They divided schedules, but not narratives. And when rumors surfaced about therapy, about frustration, about lonely White House nights, Michelle didn't flinch. Instead, she published Becoming, a soft missile cloaked as a memoir. Within its pages, she deployed emotional truth with the precision of a drone strike. Targeted, honest, disarming. She admitted she once wanted to throw Barack out the window. She confessed that marriage had seasons, some brutal, some blessed. But most critically, she named the fight. And by naming it, she owned the narrative. It wasn't deception in the traditional sense. It was tactical concealment, like a submarine, slipping beneath public waters, navigating tensions silently, surfacing only when ready. She never denied the cracks. She just refused to let others define their collapse. Every mission needs coordination. Every operation, choreography. And behind Michelle Obama's poised exterior was a schedule so tightly wired it rivaled any military op. While Barack juggled summits and senators, Michelle mapped out the terrain of influence: schools, hospitals, libraries, podcasts, and platforms with cultural weight but low political crossfire. In public, they were united, but in motion, they moved differently. Separate jets, separate entourages, separate missions. Michelle's public presence was recalibrated post-White House. The Light We Carry became more than a book. It was her recalibration manual. Oprah interviews, strategic airdrops, guest podcasts, intel gathering disguised as inspiration, social posts, satellite pings, each image, each caption, precisely chosen. She never cancelled appearances, she rescheduled. She didn't retreat, she repositioned. She didn't avoid headlines, she redirected them. Behind the scenes, trusted aides like Melissa Winter and Valerie Jarrett acted as communication relays, keeping messaging tight and internal morale intact. Even family events were rehearsed, daughters briefed, staff prepped, logistics locked, and during the high-tension spikes, Barack's solo dinners, Michelle's solo vacations, their camps kept media at bay, not by silence, but saturation. Release something softer, distract with something brighter. Let curiosity burn itself out. This wasn't chaos, it was clockwork, because every late-night argument, every whispered therapy session, every absent handhold in a photo had to be managed like fallout. This wasn't just marriage, it was command under pressure. The launch came silently. No press conference, no coordinated social media post, just a shift. Michelle appeared on the On Purpose podcast with Jay Shetty. The message, raw, the emotion, controlled. The impact, devastating. Without naming names, she named the moment. She spoke of long relationships, of transitions, of how even deep love sometimes needs space. Her words weren't a missile. They were a stealth drone. Quiet, calculated, delivered without noise, but leaving unmistakable damage. Within 24 hours, a viral clip exploded across X and TikTok. I know what loneliness feels like, even when you're not alone. Cut to a close-up of her wedding ring. Still there, but barely glinting. While that interview rippled, another domain opened. Barack released a medium essay on leadership. It seemed neutral, uplifting, but read between the lines, and you saw it. Every metaphor about legacy was about distance. Every mention of sacrifice circled around regret. Even Sasha and Malia stepped into the operational sphere. Their sudden public appearances, solo, confident, curated, weren't accidental. The next generation was signaling stability while the foundation shifted. Then came the optics. Michelle at Beyoncé's concert. No Barack in sight. Barack at a basketball game, seated next to political allies, not his wife. No anniversary posts, no holiday traditions. This was no breakdown. It was a synchronized divergence. Air, land, digital, personal. Every front activated, every vector aimed at the same outcome. Reclaim the narrative before it reclaims you. This wasn't a marriage collapsing. It was two empires reconfiguring. The next phase wasn't loud. It was layered. Strategists close to the family, publicists, insiders, silent allies, tightened the formation. Michelle's messaging was guided, not random. Her appearances, choreographed with precision. Each word in interviews trimmed like a fuselage, streamlined for impact. Each quote tested like wind in a tunnel. She wasn't just speaking, she was countering radar. Barack's team moved just as methodically. Leaks to friendly media about his mentorship to younger leaders. A photo op here, a podcast segment there, all calm, all neutral, like electronic warfare designed to jam hostile signals before they could lock on. Meanwhile, Oprah's network, silent for months, dropped an announcement. A new Michelle Obama special was coming. Intimate, unfiltered, scheduled months ahead, but now perfectly timed. Behind the curtain, joint allies like the Clooneys and the Spielbergs reactivated. No statements, just shared tables, charity galas, mutual photos. The message was clear. This is not chaos. This is choreography. Social media comments that questioned the marriage, downvoted, buried, shadowed. Accounts that pushed damaging rumors, flagged, reported, removed. The defenders were airborne, journalists, influencers, family friends, all forming a loose but effective perimeter. Even Spotify reshuffled Michelle's podcast promo clips into rotation. And just like that, the public got distracted. The battlefield fog thickened. And inside that fog, one thing became clear. Neither Michelle nor Barack were retreating. They were flying on different wings, but still in formation. It began with silence, but not weakness. Michelle didn't clap back. She dismantled. Quietly, deliberately. Her team reached out to 3 major media outlets off the record. The message, "We've seen the chatter. Proceed carefully." The Washington Post ran a lifestyle piece the next day, harmless on the surface, but inside, a quote slipped in from a close family friend, brushing off the divorce rumors as online noise. CNN followed with a clip from an older Michelle interview, strategically timed, where she emphasized how marriage is never 50-50 and you push through storms. And then the strike came. On a podcast titled On Purpose with Jay Shetty, Michelle opened up, not about Barack directly, but about resilience, marriage therapy, staying grounded during storms. The timing was surgical. It landed just as tabloids were beginning to escalate with unverified inside sources. Suddenly, those tabloid articles looked petty, out of sync, unbelievable. Meanwhile, her daughters, Malia and Sasha, posted a subtle Instagram story, together laughing over old childhood clips. No captions, but the symbolism was thunderous. We're still a family. On Twitter, known defenders like Valerie Jarrett and former staffers began tweeting archive photos from White House days, captioned only with, "Built different." Even Barack moved in. A video from a charity event leaked, him watching Michelle speak. The camera caught his face, still, locked in, full of admiration. And just like that, the enemy's radar was jammed. Public doubt, scrambled, rumors, trapped in static. The air was still. Then Michelle stepped on stage. It wasn't a political rally. It wasn't a flashy TV interview. It was a moderated discussion at the University of Chicago, her alma mater, billed simply as a conversation on modern womanhood. But everyone knew this was the moment. Dressed in a cream blazer, calm but commanding, she leaned forward in her chair as the moderator asked, carefully, about navigating long-term commitments in the public eye. Michelle didn't blink. She said, "Look, there are seasons in every relationship. There are winters, there are droughts, and if you don't recognize them for what they are, temporary, you'll start packing your bags during the storm. Barack and I, we've weathered plenty, but we're still standing." The audience erupted. But she wasn't done. She locked eyes with the crowd, then the cameras. Marriage isn't magic. It's work. And when the headlines come, when people speculate or whisper or throw shade, what matters is what happens in the quiet, in the kitchen, on the couch, after the lights are off. Silence fell. This wasn't a denial. It wasn't a confession. It was domination. Michelle didn't just defend her marriage, she reclaimed the narrative. Clips went viral in seconds. Twitter lit up. TikToks poured in. But one moment rose above them all. When Michelle ended her response with a smile and said, "Let 'em talk. We've got work to do." The message was precise, deliberate, and devastatingly clear. This marriage wasn't broken. It was battle-tested. The speech didn't just silence the rumors. It ignited a counter-offensive. Michelle's social feeds, dormant for weeks, suddenly came alive. A photo dropped, Barack and Michelle walking hand in hand on a quiet Chicago sidewalk. No press, no security, just them. No caption needed. Then came the podcast episode, The Light. Michelle's voice, calm but sharp, spoke directly to the undercurrent. People love a perfect picture, but growth isn't always photogenic. She talked about counseling, about compromise, about nights spent not talking and mornings spent trying again. And Barack? He reposted her words, just for, "Still my ride or die." No flashy event, no dramatic sit-down, just quiet, coordinated moves, precision strikes across platforms, designed to erase the whispers and restore control. In DC, think tanks, it would be called a soft power flex. In military terms, strategic deterrence. Because the goal wasn't just to calm speculation, it was to reassert dominance. The Obamas weren't retreating, they were repositioning. And just as the media began shifting its focus, another unexpected ping hit the radar. Something buried, something brewing. Because while Michelle shut one door, another rumor was about to blow wide open. The rumors didn't die, they mutated. Michelle's calm defiance closed one chapter. But as she rose above the noise, something else stirred beneath it. A leaked email, a former staffer, and one name whispered like a slow-burning fuse. Jennifer. No confirmations, no denials. Just silence, and that silence was deafening. Cable news picked it up, tabloids twisted it, and while Michelle toured schools and podcasts, her image was split-screened with someone else's smile. Barack kept smiling too, but it was the kind of smile worn by men walking a tightrope above legacy. For the public, it was gossip. For their daughters, it was home. For the world, a reminder that even icons bleed. No statement came. No press release followed. Just that same photo, hand in hand, pinned to the top of Michelle's profile. The final line wasn't spoken, because sometimes the last bullet isn't fired, it's held.